I just want to thank you, Matt, because I know you're super busy. So thank you.
Oh yeah, growing we're harvesting these watermelon right now.
Goodness. Wow.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Matt Woolf. Our business is Woolf Roses LLC, and we are out in Waddell, Arizona, immediately outside of Luke Air Force Base, are where most of our fields are. And we grow roses, lots and lots, fields of roses, maybe about 350 acres all in all, and it is quite an industry. I am a fourth generation farmer. Our family entered roses as a cooperative grow in 1976. It was basically someone down the road that, couldn't get funding, his bank cut him off. He came to us and we agreed to do it because it was kind of intriguing. Roses in Arizona, who wouldn't want to at least try? Roses are not our only specialty. We also grow wheat, alfalfa, barley, sudan, and watermelon. And we do this as a crop rotation because there's a lot of different types of crops and a lot of different pests and pathogens in the soil that you can not necessarily eradicate, but really hammer down if you have the proper rotation. We try to go through a 1-year rotation with sudan grass and different other kinds of crops. This is the beginning stages of sudan. But you can also go a 2-year rotation, and that will garner you a little bit more security in all of your rose crops and to try to keep all of these things out the best that you possibly can.
Hey, Matt, I'm going to interrupt. If you could stop your video, that way you could pause it and then you can just continue. I don't want you to feel rushed.
Oh, no, I'm not rushed. This video is 13 minutes long.
Okay, you're good.
If anything, I'll be taking too much time.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Sorry.
And so we grow the watermelon on drip, and we may try with roses. We've had customers ask us to do it. Sandy soils are best because it's possible to overwater roses, and they suffer as a result. Water use is comparable to cotton, which, while we're talking about that, all the acreage has, gotten out of agriculture, so that underground water table just continues to rise. It used to be like 700 to 1,000 feet underground, but the static water level now is about 300 feet. This is good news. We'll be able to sustain a population with so much water. Look at that stick. That stick right there. That is the beginning of a rose crop. So there's a lot more process that goes into preparing this stick, but the gist of it is if you can maintain the right soil moisture and temperature outside, that stick will grow roots out the bottom. It will bring water and sap throughout the plant. It'll grow out shoots and leaves, and you've got a plant. This is direct stick propagation. We do this with all of our rootstock. That stick will become this field. This field is ready to be budded. So maybe 1.2 million plants in that field. There's several different kinds of grafting. This is a T-graft. This is not really done anymore. On the left is the cut that you have to make into the plant. You put the scion in, which is the middle illustration, and then you're ready to wrap it with a rubber band on the right side. This type of budding is more like an implant than an actual graft, and it's archaic. No one does it anymore because it's not as effective. It's a lot harder. You get tired a lot faster. So what we do instead is chip budding. Chip budding goes as follows. Start in the upper left-hand corner. That is a shield off of a stick that you wish to replicate. The top middle is what you cut out of the rootstock to be able to plug that shield in. On the top right is what it looks like, but you're not done. You need plastic budding tape to wrap around that cut and that shield to be able to get the plant to adopt it as its own. The bottom left are things that can go wrong, like your cutting is too small. You got to have it on the side to be able to be a successful graft. The one in the middle won't grow, and the one on the right, you're taking a big shot, big chance. Only experience can get you to be able to graft these with a lot of consistency. So it is quite the process. that is what a finished plant looks like. You can barely see it, but it has a graft. We use the plastic budding tape to hold it on and be able to grow it. And you know you have a good graft when it starts to bloom like this just a few weeks after you graft it. Let me pause the video right here. Boom. What you're looking at is a successful graft. In the middle is the shield of the variety that we wanted to replicate, and the plant has grown around the shield, okay, and accepted that as part of its outer skin, and it will shoot out a stem, okay, of the variety of the rose that you want. And that's how you know you get a successful graft. Boom, right there. You're in business. That's a successful graft, and you just have to do it 3 million more times to be able to get a successful rose crop. You need to get very close to the plant. So these are budding carts. Boom, right there. I had to do it driving by from a little bit further because I didn't want to disturb anybody. But budding and removing the tape requires these budding carts. They're designed to bring your face as close to the plant as possible. And it comes with pads so you can lie on your chest, but you can also sit. You can also stand up and bend over. You can lay down on the ground. It's a very, very difficult, very tedious job. So we have to pay a lot to convince people to want to do this. Now let me freeze this video right, boom, there. What you see there at my fingertip is a broken plant. So a key part of budding rose bushes is that you have to cut the top part of the rootstock off in order to be able to force the nutrients into this shoot of the variety that you want. And you do this with every plant that you grow. This is rootstock. You need a field of rootstock to be able to get 3 million sticks. And it's you're gonna wanna keep all of your rootstock the same. Rootstock is easiest to keep clean when it's grown in such a way because rose bushes can get viruses. The most common is Dr. Huey, but in warmer climates at lower latitudes, like in Florida, they want you to use Fortuniana. Fortuniana is significantly harder to grow, and it's more vulnerable to bacteria. And so Dr. Huey is really what you're gonna want if you start a commercial grow. These are grafted, also known as budded roses. They are a 2-year crop. There is another form of growing roses, the 1-year crop. These are called own roots. And boom, that is a field of own root rose bushes. It's a different type of growing bushes in that the variety can grow its own roots from underneath. And you can do that doing softwood cuttings, or you could do a direct stick propagation like you would with a Dr. Huey. Now, 1 year as opposed to 2 years, it would be obvious which one to do, right? Because they have their advantages. They can be done in half the time, more densely populated than the field, and they can be cheaper. But they're much weaker at a young age, and sometimes in container productions, which your customers will let you know. And there are very few varieties that can actually do it. The one that's done it the best is called Knockout, and it was mass produced for years and years, but is finally on its decline. So you're very limited with what you can do with own roots. Now, remember that we sell the rose bush, not the cut flowers. The cut flowers are flown in from South America. We sell the rose bush, and there are a lot of different processes that go into it. I've been playing this video 4 times, and I don't know how choppy it's going to appear for everyone watching, so I'll pause it on the 4th time right here. What you're looking at is a tractor dragging a forage harvester in the back. The forage harvester has a sickle bar which cuts all the roses down to the height that you want. All the trash is brought into a grinder and shredded down, which then is brought over on a belt to a fan, and it shoots it out like a chimney. Trash is a lot easier to manage this way, and it will decompose underground when it's not in big chunks. These don't count as big chunks. This is a tractor that you will need, and it's kind of an older era tractor because these the drop housing tractors are very hard to find new. Also, the equipment has to be made for this, and that is good because you can custom fit for the rows so you can do it in less time, and that's less fuel consumption. The bushes must be dormant, and the roots cannot get dry. The entire season is in 4 months, and you may touch over 12 million plants. And that's not being crazy there, because you're talking about everything that you plant, all the rose bushes that you dig, and everything that you transition over into the next year. 12 million plants, and that's just one farm. Now, when they're dormant, you can send them all over the country in refrigerated trucks, and everywhere is going to have their own endowment as a location. So why Arizona? Why is Arizona such a good place to grow roses? The industry was at its strongest in Tyler, Texas. The more extreme cold temperatures killed mass swaths of valuable roses. So roses can handle temperatures as low as 19 degrees Fahrenheit, but their freezers can get below 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So everything that you didn't dig before that freeze is lost. Millions of rose bushes. So it made more sense to extract them dormant and bury it in places like Arizona and California, and then use Texas as a hub to distribute to much of the country. Texas is not the only place that takes rose bushes. You can also ship to Florida, California, British Columbia, Minnesota, all along the East Coast, and they will be successful as well. Now, misconceptions about roses. I'm glad we're talking about this. You can't grow roses in Arizona. They are from Arizona. It's all in how you plant them and how you treat them as you are growing them. So I'm going to show this to you twice, and you can observe a couple things, okay? I'm watering them in pots, making them mobile. It's 318, and that sun is hot, and look where they are. They're in the shade. When the walls face east, it will cast shade over onto your yard at the most important time of day, when it's the hottest. 318. So they will survive just the most extreme heat, and you'll be using less water because you won't be so desperate to try to save them. And really, you should only be watering them 3 to 4 times a week anyway. So start them in pots, but if you plant them in the ground, shade them through the summer, and you will be okay. Just in general. And most people just, they don't know that. And you just have bad experiences, and it's things that we don't experience in the field because all the plants shade each other. This is angel face. This is the variety in the pot that I had shown you. Now, roses can't be important, right? They're nice. Wrong. Roses can tell you a lot about the deficiencies and toxicities in the soil that will harm more valuable crops. The next slide will show you a range of deficiencies and toxicities in roses, and this can be applied. So if you start in the upper left-hand corner, that is oxygen deficiency. And if you see the veins get chlorotic like that, danger. Your roots lack oxygen. You're going to lose the plant. Number 73, the one directly to the right, is nitrogen deficiency. But as you get experience growing roses, you'll notice a lot of this looks similar. Like 73 is going to look a lot like 78, which is iron deficiency. The only difference in the field is that once those leaves go white, it's too late. The lack of iron is causing that, it's causing the photosynthesis to stop in that particular rose bush. It's also difficult. 75 and 83, those are similar. 75 is phosphorus deficiency, and 83 is salt toxicity. You just gotta know exactly what you're doing. So roses, grapes, and apples are all evolutionarily similar. So a lot of people who own vineyards use roses to try to find deficiencies and toxicities in the soil before the grapes will take that in and harm the crop. And I wouldn't want to make wine with bitter grapes. These are examples of things that could lack. The top three are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but number 4 is pretty interesting, is sulfur. Roses can lack sulfur, and especially in Western soils, it's remarkable because you have to artificially put it in. It's because emission standards have become so good that it's taken sulfur out of the atmosphere, so you have to use it artificially. Roses are a desirable ornamental, and they augment the beauty of the outdoors. They also make great gifts. Mother's Day is a big target for the rose industry. You miss Mother's Day, you're in bad luck, or in a bad place anyway. And you know, you may be able to make it a good gift for your mother as well. If you do that, February or March is when you're gonna wanna buy it, and you're gonna wanna grow it in the pot before you actually give it to her. And I've armed you with knowledge to be able to do that. So if you wanna see the harvest or you're planning a field trip, we work a lot with the Arizona Farm Bureau, and this includes tours. The show, end quote, is in October, and that is when we have fields of blooming roses, and they're all blooming.